Hello, Kelly. Here is your sewer scope from today's inspection. That's me just down in the basement, just kind of giving you some orientation, showing you that access into the main sewer stack. PVC to start out with, like we talked about, there's a fairly decent number of twists and turns that I had to get through in the initial stages of the pipe. That, and it's fairly dirty in there as well. I mean, it's a sewer pipe, I know that, but things do tend to collect, sometimes directly underneath the house, but then also towards the latter stages of the pipe, which we'll talk about later. But camera lens is somewhat mucked up here, so I'm running some water. I'm going to try to bathe off the front of the lens there. It does get better as we get a little bit further out. We'll make 2 or 3 fairly aggressive turns here. Again, we'll kind of drop and turn. And then make another turn here, dropping down into that. And then we've got fairly smooth sailing from there. It's not uncommon to have a few twists and turns underneath the house, but we got past it, and right at about 32 feet, we transition over to cast iron. I'm going to assume that, 1980s house using cast iron wasn't commonplace, but likely just because of the elevation of the house, how wooded it is right there around the house. They probably decided that this was their best material to use. Just a guess, but that's what I would think. Notice there's a little bit of buildup on the bottom where the water is. There's some expected corrosion in the pipe as well. And again, early stages, it's not that bad. The steam, even though I'm running cold water, it's just a function of the pipe is relatively cold because it's, 7 degrees outside. Even though it's insulated by the earth and it's warmer when you dig down, it's still the temperature of the pipe versus the temperature of the water flowing through it, so you kind of create some steam in there as well. As we start to get further along, the corrosion does tend to increase. The amount of buildup, especially the last 20 or 30 feet, is pretty aggressive. It's fairly obvious that this pipe hasn't been looked at, cleaned, maintained very well over the decades. Scaling, cast iron, obviously it's a metal pipe. It's gonna corrode on the interior. You're gonna create flakes, and it is gonna scale in there. So periodically having it cleaned out is really kind of an important thing to do, and it doesn't have to be every year. It could be once every 10 years perhaps. You'll figure that out as you go along, but you can definitely see in here where it's building up more, it's catching more things, the scaling's worse, build up on the bottom there. So we're coming up to the final bend, and I can't go any further than this because I'm running out of cable. And I've got to move my machine up closer to that access port to be able to get just around this corner. I'm thinking that the drop down that we're going to see here in just a second, right up ahead, is the final drop into the city connection. Now, it still might be another 10, 15, 20, 25 feet further out, you see that there's something going on there. I can't really tell, are those roots, is it earth? I don't know that it is. It could be a connection point to clay, and those could be roots growing in. It could be cobwebs, it could be a number of things, but definitely not what we want to see, and definitely something that we want to, one, we want to clear this out. I mean, the pipe needs to be cleaned anyway, so I would clear this out, figure out what's happening here. Is it just, again, that transition from cast iron to clay, or is there damage there? The other thing is, once we get everything cleared out, we want to try to go further along in the pipe, hopefully get to the city connection, and be able to view the entire length of the pipe. So all of that will be in the written report, but again, this is an anomaly. It's not something that I would have expected to see in a cast iron pipe that was clear of defects. So dig into that a little bit more. If you need recommendations on companies that do sewer line cleaning, let me know. I'm happy to give you some names. And then again, have it re-videoed and see what's going on there. Get their recommendations as well. But again, knowing how the house sits up high on a hill, knowing that you've got a main thoroughfare down at the bottom of that hill, if there is damage, it could be quite a big deal to take care of. So I don't mind jumping at shadows. I just want to be 100% sure that there's not anything major going on there. But so getting it clean would be the first order of business. Obviously, I'm keeping the camera rolling as I'm pulling back. You're welcome to watch the return trip. Please reach out to me with any questions. Always happy to be of help and service.